Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So today video is part 4 video of this series Angular 14 GraphQL client apoll-angular for consuming the GraphQL endpoint. Now to implement the create operation, let me create a component inside of fruits module like add component. Okay, so command will be ng generate component and where I want to create inside of the fruits module, right? Fruits folder and name of my component add, and I don't want to generate any test files. Okay, add component created. Now let's add the routing for add component inside of the fruit routing module. Okay, go to fruit routing module. Here add a new route. Okay, path. Let's add path like add. Okay, and the component add component, right? Add component. Now let's prepare the mutation command for saving a record into the server. So here let's try to create the mutation command. Remove everything and mutation, the root, right? And click on schema for mutation. And for inserting single record, I have to use this, okay? Like create fruit. So create fruit, okay? And it takes some inputs like name, quantity, and price, right? So property and this name should be given the variable type. You can give any variable type, okay? If dollar is prefix, that is variable name, okay? You can give any name here, but what I will do, I will give same name as Naveen, like that, okay? Name and quantity and variable name will be quantity, same name, but it is not mandatory. And next input parameter, price. So intelligence will automatically shows you what are the input parameters for the particular resolver, okay? And dollar price. And I have also shown you previously for this variable, we have to define the types. Actually here for method here types are there, right? Capital string, exclamatory, int exclamatory, int exclamatory. So those are GraphQL types. Exclamatory means non-nullable string, non-nullable integer. Okay. To define them, here open circular braces. Okay. And what is our variable name? Name. And what its type here? String. Okay. And it is non-nullable. Okay. And what is our another variable? Quantity. Okay. And its type is integer, capital I. You can check in the syntax types, okay? And another thing is price. So price, integer, non-nullable, okay? And what are the properties you want to get in the response? I want all of them. So I can define all of them because this method return type is fruit, right? So whatever the properties there in the fruit, we can add here, ID, name, intelligence will automatically shows you, okay? Price. But data must be passed to these variables, right? So click on the below window where query variable, okay? And here open an object and control space or intelligence automatically shows you. Okay, my new fruit is like apples, okay? And the quantity 5, okay? And the price some $300, okay? So this is how we have to create a mutation command for creating. So we have to use this mutation command in our Angular application. Okay, for queries we have create a file like fruit query file, right? So for mutations, let's create a one more file. Okay, so ng generate class inside of fruits folder, inside of GQL folder. My file name is like fruits-mutation. Okay, skip this. Okay, file got created. So let's get the fruit mutation file, remove this and export a constant like create fruit. Okay, and we know GraphQL command should be enclosed in GQL that loads from Angular, Apollo-angular. Okay, open backticks and copy this entire thing, and paste it over here. Okay, now let's try to add small form in the add component.html file. So go to add component.html file. Okay, remove this container. Okay, and add a legend like create item, some heading. Okay, and now I want 4 text fields, or 3, one for name, quantity, and price. Okay, for that let's go to Bootstrap. And in the Bootstrap, go for forms and go for overview. Okay, here let me copy this first one. Okay, let's add it here. I don't want any error message. Okay, so let's duplicate it 2 more times. Okay, now it will be text name, paste it for ID. Okay, and it is for fruit name. Its type will be text. And next, quantity. Quantity, and it should be a number. And next, price. Price, okay. And it is also a number. TXT price. Okay, and I want to create a form model in TS file so that using ng model I can bind to the HTML. So go to add component.ts file. Here let me declare a variable like fruit form of type fruits. Okay. Initial values, it should be equal to, okay, and the initial value of id is 0. Empty price 0, quantity 0. Okay, this is my form model, and let's use ng bind on the input fields. Sorry, ng model, and fruit form dot name. Okay, since we are using ng model, right? So in the form module, we have to import the forms module. Go to form module. So sorry, fruit module. Here, let's register the forms module. Okay. Now go to add component. .html, and what is the variable name? Go to add component.ts file, copy the name. Okay. So same way we have to add it for other input fields as well. So that is name, and this should be quantity, and next one should be price. Price. Okay. And let me add a button. So on button click, I want to submit the form. So button in primary. Okay. Create, and let's define a click event. Click some create method. Okay, let's define a create method in add component.ts file. So here we have to define add component.ts file. Okay, so in this method, I have to post my form data to the GraphQL endpoint. Okay, to do that, we know we have to inject the Apollo service. So private read only, sorry, private Apollo. Okay, now this dot Apollo dot. Now we have to use a method like mutate. Okay, so here my resolver method is create fruit, right? That will be written as a response property inside of the data. So what I can do, I can define the type here for mutate for data object like copy this create fruit name. Same will be come from the response, okay? And its type is fruits. So whatever fruit data is saved, that will be written as this type, okay? And open braces and brackets. Here for mutation, we have to pass our mutation command, that is create fruit, okay? And we know we have to pass variables, right? So to pass variables, here there will be a one more property like variables, okay? And their names like name, quantity, and price. Name, so that will come fruits form, okay? Let's assign the form data here to the variable names. Okay, next same names. Quantity. So I am passing my form data to GraphQL variable. Okay. Okay. So it will generally return data object, right? So, and I just want to navigate back to once save. I just want to navigate back to my home component. Okay. For that, we have to inject the router service private router. Okay. This dot router dot navigate, and I want to go to home component. Okay. So once save, I want to navigate back to home component. Now let me add a add button in home component.html. So create a row, some margin top, and call md4 dot offset MD4. I want a button in the middle. Okay. Now to this, let me add anchor tag. Okay, and router link. I can directly define add route. Okay, and create a new item. And I want to display it like a button. So add button classes. Okay, that should work. Now let's go to our web page. I got an add button. If I click on it, I navigate to create form. So let me create a new fruit like apples, quantity 5, price 300. Let's open developer tool to check the network call. Okay, click on create. See, I navigated to home page, but record is not showing. Okay, it won't show. Why? I will explain. But let's check the call API call. If you observe here you can see our mutation object, and here the variables or payload. And in the preview, you can see the response with the ID and everything. But here we navigate back to our home page, but our API call not invoked. In component ng on it, API call is not invoked. That is because this watch query by default maintains cache. Okay, if the data is already existed in the cache, in-memory cache store, it won't invoke the API call. Okay, so if you want to avoid this in-memory cache, one way is you can use policy, fetch policy. We can use, and here you can specify like no cache. Then what will happen? Always, it won't store in memory. It always go for network call. Okay, let's check again. Okay, now page reloaded. My item is came. Let me create new one and check the network calls. Okay, clear it. Let me add one more fruit like the photos. Okay, and let me try to create it. See, immediately I got. If I check the network calls, API call is invoked. Get API call. After entering into the home component, API call is invoked. So adding policy is one process. Okay, if you don't want to uh, avoid in-memory cache, means if you want to use the benefit of in-memory cache, then we have to update the in-memory cache state. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, for that we have to go for add component itself. Here, along with variable and mutation, there is one more property like update. Okay, this contains a arrow function. Okay, and it has variables like store, and second variable will be the response of this mutation API call. Okay, now this store will give the access for our in-memory cache. Okay, so now what I will do, if data of create fruit. Okay, if the response is coming from the API, after saving only this method gets executed. Okay, after executing this method, then subscribe will be executed. Okay, after API completion, once response came to the our application, update method gets executed. After the update method completion, method gets executed. Okay, so I'm checking just, so this data is nothing but the response data. Okay, so in that we will have a create property, which is nothing but a fruit. fruit type. Okay, we are checking our newly created record is exist or not. Okay, now we have to fetch all the existing data from the in-memory cache store. Okay, how we can get means where let me store all existing data to this variable. Okay, I am going to use store. Okay, dot read query. So here you can see Apollo cache. This is for reading the cache. Okay, store.read query is a read in the cache. It is almost work like a mutate or query watch query methods of the Apollo instance, but this read query is for not invoking the API call. This is for calling the store. Okay, and here we just use as it is how we call the uh, watch query in home component, just like here we call, right, passing this get fruits. So same command can use for cache also. Okay, so that means go to add component.ts. Here I can define it like type, just like home component type watch query type. Okay, what its type array of fruits. Okay, okay, and open braces and open brackets. Home component is passing get query, right? Same. It is read query also contains query property, and to that I am going to use the this get fruit constant. This query I want to pass to cache. Okay, so here we pass that one. Okay, import the namespace. So this query, what it will do? It fetches the based on the query. It fetches the all data from the in-memory cache. Okay, now I got all data from the in-memory cache. Let's check if the data exists or not. All data and all data dot all fruits dot length greater than 0. Okay, then what I want to do, let me don't use directly cache memory. Let me create a one more variable. Okay, where new data equal to data fruits array type and create a array and pass the all data dot all fruits. Okay, now I got all my in-memory store into this variable. Now let me push the new record, this create fruit, into this new data. Okay, so new do dot unshift will add the my newly created record on the top of the list in cache. Okay, so data dot create fruit. Okay, now this data is updated. Again, this data need to be stored back to the in-memory cache. Okay, just like mutation, but it won't invoke any API call. Just save the data into the in-memory cache. For that, we can use store dot write query. Okay, here it almost uses same query for writing also, but additionally we have to pass the data. That data is nothing but array of fruits. Okay, so how we have to pass? We have to pass like this using this property only. New. Why I am using same query? You should use whatever the get query in home component.ts. Get query data type is this, right? Because as it is object is stored directly into the in-memory cache. That's why this is mandatory to define the type. Okay. Now go to add component.ts. Yeah. This line of code will update the store state. Let's check by adding one more item. Okay, so let's refresh. We have 3 records, and let me clear the network call. Now if you save, okay, record will be saved, and we will navigate to home component, but API call will not invoke because we removed the fetch policy equal to non-cache. That property is removed now. So data will be loaded from the store. But before coming to the home component, in add component, what we did, we use update method. In that update method, we are updated the in-memory cache store. Okay. So by using this, we will use the benefit of the in-memory store of the GraphQL. So let me add a new item, something like pineapple 4 and 250. So click on create. See, my record is coming on top, and if I check network, only one call, that is mutation call. You can check in payload. There is no get call. That means all the data is updated in the store and that data is loaded here. Okay. So this is how in-memory cache works in GraphQL. Next, we are going to deal with update operation. I hope this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.